Welcome back to another episode of Questions with Matt and Mark. So, Matt, I'm going to ask you first here today. So, Tesla made news headlines today. And let me clarify before this that this is neither a recommendation for or against Tesla. So, I want you to explain to listeners what's going on with Tesla and Hertz today.
So the news, viewers, is they got an order for 100,000 units. And it seems that Hertz is going to completely revamp their rental car fleet to be electric. And obviously, this is sending some shockwaves, not only through that specific industry, the rental car industry, but also the automotive industry. And so I think it's pretty interesting news.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because Hertz was in not such a good place just a year ago today. So
It is amazing, Mark, you say that, because a year ago they were counted out. You know, the stock was facing literally bankruptcy. And it's amazing to kind of see their resurrection.
Yeah, things can change on a dime.
They sure can. You ready for mine?
I am.
So this time of the year, viewers, people tend to start talking about seasonality in the market. So, Mark, we just generally talk about seasonality in the period we're about to embark going on into year end.
Yeah, so September was the weakest month of the year for the S&P 500 this year, and that shouldn't really surprise anybody because September tends to be one of the weakest months of the year if you look back at history for the S&P 500. So usually It's the full month of September, the first half of October before we get to some of the most strongest months of the year for the stock market. So going into the holiday season, the holiday spending season in particular, you're going to see a lot of numbers on these retail sales. So typically consumer stocks tend to do well towards the end of the fourth quarter just because of that holiday spending season.
Another thing that comes to mind is think of so many corporate budgets, kind of use it or you lose it. So you have these department heads who've been allocated this budget that maybe haven't used it all year, and they scramble. Maybe they're buying technology, equipment purchases, hiring, etc. You tend to see that near year end, and that tends to trickle down to stock prices too.
Right, and one term that people might start to see is the Santa Claus rally, because it is such a seasonally strong period for stocks. It's been dubbed the Santa Claus rally.
I love myself a good Santa Claus rally.
I do too. It's great for everybody, I think.
I love that. The tide raises all boats.
It does. It does.
All right, listeners, thanks for listening to another episode of Questions with Matt and Mark. We'll be back next week with another 2 questions. We will see you then.